All right, welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about missions and strengths that you might have when approaching clients and different prospects. So we're going to be diving into that. We're going to be, I think a lot of times we go through life and we're just doing these things, but taking that time to really be reflective and deep diving into what it is that you bring to the table when it comes to serving these people can be huge. Not only helps you personally identify what it is that you can do for clients and prospects, but it helps for them to have an understanding. Because I think a lot of times if what you do is confusing and misleading, you're missing out on a big opportunity for your clients to have an understanding and really bring value to them. So we're going to start with your mission. So why is it important to have a mission? It should be the core of who you are and what drives you and what kind of impact you're making on society. So we're going to be diving into that. I don't want to get too far into the weeds just because I got to cue the intro first. So the next, strengths in the things that are unique about you that you bring to the marketplace. So identifying this can be a game changer, and it helps with your personal perception in the market. There are things that you can do that no one else can do, so we're going to be identifying that. Let's not get too far into it. Let's cue the intro. Let's start this thing off. Thanks for joining us. Let's go.
Thank you for checking out the Media Marketing Podcast, a place where you can learn all things media and marketing related. Don't miss a beat in boosting your business and your brand. In each episode, you'll gain valuable insights, tools, and strategies to apply to your marketing efforts. And now your host, Brian Cargill.
Okay, so today is going to be somewhat of a reflective episode, which I think is good to do every once in a while. You might be going, talking with people, working on different things, but taking the moment to get your ideas onto paper or the true value that you bring onto paper can be great because you can analyze it, see patterns, and decide if you want to keep moving in that direction or if you want to change gears and do something different. So let's get into it. The mission of your organization. Your mission should communicate who you are. It should be concise to a degree. And, I think in the early stages, there shouldn't be too much of a variance between your mission statement and your elevator pitch to a degree. I'm going to be showing some examples, which I think aren't super concise, but they're bigger organizations, and so they're trying to encapsulate so much, and it also has an air of a vision or a feel-good sense of unity around some things that people are working towards. And then next is it should have a combination of your offerings, your personality, and the overall vision. So let's go into a review. The first organization that I looked at was the famous Walt Disney. So the Walt Disney mission is to entertain, inform, and inspire people around the globe through the power of unparalleled storytelling, reflecting the iconic brands, creative minds, and innovative technologies that make ours the world's premier entertainment company. So you can see they're trying to do a lot of things here. But if you were an employee of this company, you'd say to yourself, okay, wow, that we're trying to do something innovative. They use that word in there. We're trying to be creative. And so they want every little piece of content that they produce to be a reflection of these things that they're striving for. If you're a small entertainment company, I think you can say something much more concise that doesn't have to encapsulate so much. So you can just say, hey, we're trying to break the mold of what people traditionally think of when it comes to storytelling. Another little caveat that I've thought of just now while we're on the topic is I've worked with some brands in the past, and they in their mission statement, they try to compare themselves to another organization, like we're more intimate than Walmart, or we have a better selection or more wholesome selection than Kmart. I say stay away from trying to promote or do any kind of comparison to these other organizations, because at the end of the day, you're not really doing yourself a service. You're actually propping up the other organization because, like they say, any publicity is good publicity. So even if you're saying you're better than this other organization, the person reading that statement is going to be thinking to themselves, yeah, I haven't been to that place for a while. Maybe I should go back. Or, I don't know. Just try to keep it as, vague in the sense of other brands, but being concise in what it is that you actually provide. Next is Coca-Cola. So our mission is to refresh the world in mind, body, and spirit, to inspire moments of optimism and happiness through our brands and actions. And they have second sentence, to create value and make a difference. Pretty generic there. But you can see with the refresh of, making, kind of all the element, that Zen element of, the mind, body, and spirit, trying to do some kind of renewal, and to inspire people to take action, and again, it has that visionary sense to it of optimism and moving towards the future. So, yeah, that gives you another sense. That's example number 2, and then example number 3 is Microsoft. Microsoft's corporate mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Again, vague, but they're a big organization, big company. So I think what they, and I would imagine that this has all changed over time. These are very fluid, living statements that update as your organization updates, as you have new service lines, as the personnel changes, as the vision of the organization changes. So they've kept it very, very broad. And so, I'll give you an example of what I say for mine is I help businesses and brands share their product solutions through digital media. I think that very concisely says who I work with, what I'm doing for them, and then how I'm doing it. Some people might switch this out with why they do it, which is another key aspect of it too. And so if you can marry in there what it is that you do and what got you started in the first place and what kind of impact and difference you're trying to make in the community, that's another good thing to add. But I keep it kind of simple just because I want to make sure that that someone that I'm talking to on the street, or because a lot of the organizations I work with, they're small businesses, they're individuals, so they don't have a great understanding of all these buzzwords such as messaging and stake in the marketplace. So you got to cater it to who your audience is going to be. And I think with these mission statements that I read from those previous brands, they are catering to the internal personnel of their company, to prospective clients, and the community at large. So, I guess I kind of jumped the gun here, but catering to the different people that you're going to be speaking to. So I just talked about individuals. So what you're wanting to do with the individuals is you want to create a way for people to come and learn and decide if they want to work with you without you actually being in the room, because you're not, 99% of the time you're not going to be saying the statement to them. They're going to be reading it on your website, reading it on a business card, reading it in your email signature. And so being very selective about your word choice can make a big difference. Next is the next type of person I might be talking to is an owner. For the owner, the language I would use around there is I'm helping increase the bottom line, garner more awareness, and drive more profitable clients. The third one would maybe be somebody within an organization that I'd be talking to, explaining them my services of creating videos, photos, and podcasts. Would be using phrasing around stories and messaging. And so with this with that messaging, that mission, I'm building upon kind of what that original mission is, which is that statement. And then when I'm talking to each of those people, I'm shaping the conversation around what it is I'm trying to convey to them. So I am part of this mastermind group, and one of the people in that group, she's a life coach. And so she was having challenge challenges around communicating what it is that she does for her clients, because she's like, well, I create meaningful and impactful change. I'm, radically making differences in their lives. How do I explain that I'm able to see someone's value and then kind of reflect or mirror that to them and allow them to create huge amounts of growth? So what I would say to someone like that is that they are helping their clients identify their strengths, challenges, and potential, while at the same time motivating and guiding them to take action to create meaningful change in their lives and in their community. So what's nice about a life coach like that, they're usually speaking to individuals. I think the pinnacle of a life coach is you eventually get to work with executives at a corporate organization. But until then, they're working with individuals, so they're just trying to show them, hey, I'm going to be able to do a kind of somewhat of an assessment and help guide you through to the place that you want to be and be accountable and help you along the way. The next one, okay, so that kind of pretty much wraps up the mission statement. So I've given you a couple examples, my own personal, and then a little case study. Next, it's important to identify your strengths. So why did I start with the mission? Well, the mission is kind of your core foundation, and then from there, you can identify your strengths and what kind of value, what things do you bring to the table to making a difference in people's lives. Now, before we get into it, I need to mention, write this down. Have a piece of paper or type it out if you like digital paper like myself. Type it out, rework it over and over again. Run your mission statement by people that are close to you, maybe even some prospects if you feel comfortable, which are also clients or people that you might eventually work with, and get their feedback, because people are gonna give you their if they truly know you and they want you to do well, they'll give you their honest feedback. And if they say it's too vague, take that with a grain of salt. If they say it's too concise or doesn't fully encapsulate all the things you do, take that and use it how you will. But yeah, I think having a piece of paper, writing that down, and then for the strengths, same thing. Write down all of these things, cross-analyze it, and So before we get into strengths, I want to talk about, school teaches us that we need to conform. But in business, you want to be different. You don't want to be like everybody else, because, why would someone choose you over someone else? It's what makes you different. It's the things that you bring to the table. It's your strengths that are going to be the reasons at the end of the day why someone decides to work with you. So number one, what you need to do is identify even if you are different. So do some market research, which is a Google search, pull up maps, see who else is in the area. So what makes you different is, diving into what industry are you in, who else is in that industry. Geography plays a big role. Even though we live in the digital age, having that geographical differentiator, if you're the only one for the 100-mile radius that offers some kind of service, that's something that makes you different. People even today that we have access to all these online tools, they still like that face-to-face contact and being able to connect with that person at coffee or over lunch, etc. So reach out to, do some Google search, type it out, and make a spreadsheet, and then from there you kind of know who the competition is. If you've ever read the book Blue Ocean Strategy, that book will tell you that you shouldn't have any competitors. You should try to be moving into a space that doesn't even exist yet, so that way you can be, one, not only first, but two, there is no competition. You're competing only about how good you can do with your own product and getting the awareness out there. Whereas they call the blue ocean, so it's kind of in the green or in the black. Whereas the red ocean is where there's a bunch of sharks and all these other competitors that make it hard to stand out. What I've seen a lot of people do well here is if you combine, because it's really hard to do something completely different. So if you have a service, but then you just have one other thing that has a unique twist on it. So hanging your hat on something else that is maybe like another small niche group. So whatever your service is, and maybe with vegans or whatever your service is, and oh gosh, I can't think of anything else. But aligning it with another group or subsect that is going to just make you stand out and create kind of loyalty among that other group. The number 2 thing that you need to do is there anything that you can do that no one else can? So we already talked about geography. Is there something about your processes that make you different? Make sure that doesn't, get out there in the community of how you do it, because then other people might start to copy it. That happens all the time. Is there something about your knowledge? Is there something about your past experiences that makes you different? Take all these factors into account and put them on that list. And then really identify maybe the very, very core things that you can communicate to people about why you're different. So for me personally, my strengths for my clients is I can work with smaller budgets. I can work with individuals. I get to grow alongside their clients because I'm relatively new into the in the marketing field, working by myself. I've been in the industry for a while, but working for myself, getting to grow alongside them, which is a really unique thing. I think that adds that intimate kind of relationship, and you're willing to talk about the little nuances of your organization that are allowing you to grow and bounce ideas off of that person. I think of myself as being pretty friendly, easy to work with, communicative. I like to think out every stage of a project and work with the client all along the way. And then what makes me different is my background. I've worked in professional services for the last 4 years, and that's not an easy industry to be a part of. A lot of the ideas are abstract. There's no physical product. It's a service, and a very challenging service to even understand at best. And so communicating that, and then I've worked with a challenging subject matter. So I think that's what I bring to the table, which other organizations might be looking for. Someone that can explain whatever they do in a more efficient and concise manner. And then for you, make a list of things that help make you stand out. I think I found what a lot of people do is they make the mistake of doubling up and repeating the same thing, but from a different way. So, we create impact or difference or change. So just stick to the fundamentals, and I think having a piece of paper, crossing things out, and prioritizing your strengths can go a long way. And then, so that's the strengths that I provide for the client, but then think about your own personal strengths. What it is that you bring to the table that no one else does? Maybe it's your skill set. For me, it's storytelling, my ability to film, edit, and work with the client all along the way. And then also my personal strength is networking, willing to, business develop, go talk with people. Many people in the creative industry, in the marketing world too, it's hard for them to have those one-on-one conversations or be willing and have the energy to go to these different events and make those connections. So I've been able to identify that just through, process, trial, and error. And you can do the same thing. For you, it might be one aspect of the process that you're really good at, that you can say, no one else does it like me, which I heard a really good story from someone the other day who was explaining how sometimes it's not always the best to figure out how one person someone else in the industry is doing something, where you're taking a course and you learn all the different stages of what that person's doing. Sometimes creating your own process, doing something out of the box, even if it may take longer, it can make you different. And sometimes longer processes make for a better end product. I think that's a lot of the times why, let's use a cookie, for example. One cookie, if it only takes, 3 or 4 hours to make one kind of cookie versus one that takes 2 to 3 days worth of labor, people are going to charge the price on that other one. And, all of that is subjective. At the end of the day, if the 3-day process one tastes better than the 4-hour one, but I don't know what it is. It seems like every little extra bit that you put into the product to make it better, time-wise, is usually going to wind up being the best thing. And then over time, you can be more efficient and cut down on that time, and the amount of resources used. But yeah. Let's see. And then for you. Yeah, come up with a process. And then the other aspect is maybe you're able to create like a lasting impression. So someone has a really good experience with you and wants to come work with you again.